I think the Spider-Man craze is probably over by now on. I don't know if people are still talking about Spider-Man today, but in the beginning of this month, a lot of people are going crazy about Spider-Man. Because it's a kind of like a very new Spider-Man movie is very popular that people said that's the best Spider-Man movie in 22 years since Spider-Man 2. So the next movie fad is going to be Paw Patrol, the movie. Well, the Dino movie, of course. It's kind of strange they're advertising the new Paw Patrol movie with dinosaurs a lot everywhere. It's made by Nickelodeon, of course, but it's more like a TV show designed for babies, not for elementary school kids. Do the kids of elementary school age ever watch Paw Patrol? I don't know. When I was a kid, Paw Patrol did not exist back in my day. When I was a kid, we had shows like Little Bill, Blue's Clues, Arthur. I never watched that show. Clifford the Big Red Dog. Have watched the show. What other movies can I think of that were very popular that were kind of like the Paw Patrol back in my day? Oh, Elmo's World from Sesame Street. Yeah, Sesame Street's been on TV forever. It's been really popular for several generations and is still airing on TV today. But I do remember watching Elmo's World. That was kind of like Paw Patrol, of course. According to the internet, the biggest fans of Paw Patrol were mostly college kids and teenagers, of course. So that's interesting that Paw Patrol is more popular for grown-ups than kids. I mean, for than little kids, because it's kind of like the popularity of Peppa Pig and Bluey, which are very popular TV shows for adults, like college kids, than like little kids, of course. I don't know why. It's kind of weird, don't you think? Don't you think college kids might be a bit too old to be watching shows for babies? It's a good show to watch for young people if they get really bored. When I was a little kid, Teletubbies and Theater Tugboat were pretty much the Paw Patrol of my generation. Today's video I'm gonna talk about is to compare the difference between the Paw Patrol dinosaur movie to the preschool films I used to watch back in my day. It's a generation gap between today's little kids and the little kids of my generation. I was kind of like a lone wolf growing up. Well, actually, the first movie I saw based on a preschool show was Elmo and Grouchland. Do you guys remember Elmo and Grouchland, which is basically a Sesame Street movie? Kind of like the second Sesame Street movie ever made since the Big Bird movie back in the 1980s. Over 10 years later, they made another Sesame Street movie with Elmo. It did not do well in the box office, but it's kind of like a cult classic though, for Sesame Street fans, of course, on the internet. It's made by Columbia Pictures. That's the same company that made all sorts of films based on preschool shows. I'm going to talk about my favorite movie as a little kid later on in the video, because I'm going to talk about Elmo and Grouchland. What is Elmo and Grouchland, you guys want to know? Because some of you guys were born after me, because you're kind of like the new generation, because you're kind of like the Generation Z or Generation Alpha. Some of you guys may not have an idea what Elmo and Grouchland is. It came out in 1999. I don't know any kids my age who saw that movie. The story in Elmo and Grouchland is where Elmo has a really good time playing with his blanket and stuff like that. He had a fight with Zoe because she broke his blanket. All sorts of stupid situations going on in the movie. And all of a sudden, the blanket kid fell into the trash can. Elmo has to chase out of the blanket, and he discovered the blanket's lost inside the world full of Grouches. That's where Oscar the Grouch actually comes from. When we were little kids, when we watched Sesame Street, we want to know what's underneath Oscar's trash can. Why is Oscar the Grouch hiding in the trash can? It turns out it was a gateway to a fantasy world full of Grouches, of course. Unfortunately, the bad guy in the film is a thief who steals the blanket for himself. He kind of looks like the vampire hunter from The Little Vampire, except it's not played by the same actor. The differences between the vampire hunter and the bad guy from the Elmo and Grouchland is that the Elmo and Grouchland guy is kind of like a New York or American guy. He looks Italian, while the vampire hunter is actually a British actor playing the vampire hunter. Well, of course, Sesame Street's American, and The Little Vampire is British. Well, it's actually a European production. It's made by a Dutch guy, but it's based on a book from Germany, but the film takes place in the UK. Maybe it's a perfect setting for a vampire movie. Don't you think it's kind of funny because when I was a little kid, when I saw The Little Vampire, I thought the bad guy there kind of looked like the bad guy from Elmo and Grouchland. Except they're not the same actor, but they do have the same faces though. So Elmo has to go into Grouchland to get his blanket back. And meanwhile, when there's one of Elmo's friends from Sesame Street, they ended up going to Grouchland just to look for Elmo because he's lost in the middle of the trash and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't remember that movie very often. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. Maybe as a little kid, I had no interest in it. Remember this one part of the movie where Elmo talks to you and the kids are saying, yes? It's an interactive film, of course. Do you remember the segments where Ernie and Bert keeps interrupting the show? It's like, oh God, come on, Ernie and Bert, stop interrupting the show. And they're breaking the fourth wall. Come on, Ernie and Bert, this is about Elmo, not you guys. I know you guys are awesome, but Ernie and Bert, stop interrupting the show. My memory of Elmo Grouchland's a little bit small. I had no interest in it. Maybe because I was a really big train fan back then. I was into boats and airplanes also back in those days. Well, speaking about preschool films like Elmo and Grouchland that came out in 1999, in the year 2000, they had Thomas and the Magic Railroad, the first time Thomas the Tank Engine chugs into the big screen. When I first saw the trailer of Thomas the Magic Railroad watching the Harold the Helicopter VHS tape, they had a trailer for that movie. It was like, holy crap, Thomas the Train's having a movie? I'll definitely check it out. Who the heck are these actors anyways? They don't feature live-action people on Thomas the Tank Engine. They're statues, for God's sakes. But Thomas the Magic Railroad's a really cool film, though. I think I saw that movie about 5 times or 6 times. That was kind of like the Paw Patrol movie of my day. According to YouTube, a lot of Thomas the Train fans are basically adults or college kids or teenagers. They love that movie. It was a cult classic, though, and we all grew up watching that movie. We love it so much. It was great how YouTube has all sorts of Thomas the Tank Engine fans to make friends with, and they were huge fans of Thomas the Magic Railroad back when they were kids. Even though the film didn't do well in the box office, it's kind of interesting. There were 2 preschool films back in my day that didn't do well in the box office, but they were called classics though. They have good special effects, but the storytelling is not very good. So it's kind of interesting that Paw Patrol Dino Movie is today's preschool film for today's generation of little kids. Compared to my day, we had 2 preschool films, like Elmo and Grouchland and Thomas and the Magic Railroad, and they're both made by Columbia Pictures. They made Stuart Little, Men in Black, and Spider-Man, and Ghostbusters. Do you guys think the Paw Patrol Dino Movie kind of reminds you of the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie from the year 2000? It kind of looks like it. It sounds like the same plot. It's about going on a big adventure, and they are based on TV shows, of course. The rating for Paw Patrol the movie is rated PG, so it's actually a good movie for big kids to watch. Possibly good for little kids too, I don't know. Back in my day, the 2 films based on preschool shows were rated G, like Thomas the Magic Railroad and Elmo and Grouchland. The movie has a variety of actors in Paw Patrol the Dino Movie. They had Terry Crews, Jennifer Hudson, Snoop Dogg, and Bill Nye and Paris Hilton. What are these people doing in this movie? What does Bill Nye play in this movie anyways? Do you guys remember Bill Nye? You know, that guy from that old TV show on PBS from a long time ago where he talks about science? Is he gonna be a science guy in this movie where he talks about dinosaurs? That would be kind of cool. Or maybe he's gonna play a dinosaur. Is he gonna be the bad guy in the movie? I don't know. Sometimes bad guys in movies are played by very well-known actors. This is funny. What is Snoop Dogg doing in a little kid's movie anyway? Isn't Snoop Dogg like a gangster rapper for like grown-ups and teenagers because he curses a lot and says like dirty stuff? That's kind of weird. A gangster rapper in a kid's movie? That's kind of weird. Well, Ice Cube was a gangster rapper that was in a kid's movie. Are we there yet from a long time ago? Is Snoop Dogg's cartoon character gonna smoke crack in this movie? That would be kind of funny. What is Paris Hilton doing in Paw Patrol the movie? Paris Hilton is a very dirty lady. In the movie Elmo Grouchland, there's not too many well-known actors I know of. Well, Elmo, we all know Elmo from Sesame Street. We watch him every day. In Thomas the Magic Railroad, they have Alec Baldwin and Mara Wilson, Peter Fonda, and Alec Baldwin. Of course, Alec Baldwin was the narrator for the TV show back in that time. That was the first Peter Fonda movie I ever saw in my lifetime. And the first Mara Wilson movie I saw also. I never seen Matilda because that's a girl's movie.